just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if it's sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right. This is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 252. Mike Biseglia, Alex Vanessowitz. We are presented by DraftKings. Blockbuster trade happened over the weekend. Nets and Knicks both beating the Rockets. Alex happy. I'm not happy. OG Anunoby injury. Mitchell Robinson speculation. And what are the Nets going to do at the NBA trade deadline? We are recording this on Tuesday at about 1:22 p.m. Eastern. So we'll see maybe even a trade or two happen during the show. Quentin Grimes just got dealt to the Philadelphia 76ers. We'll dive into all of that. Alex, how are you? And of course, we've got a Super Bowl coming up this weekend where it's the Chiefs and the Eagles. Alex, what's going on?
Do we? Super Bowl? Oh, we're talking about NBA trades, and that dominated the news cycle. But yeah, we do have a Super Bowl coming up. And as you know, Bad Weather Fans is sponsored by DraftKings. And this ain't a little itty bitty teeny tiny bowl. This is the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 59. Yeah, 59. I thought it was 49, but 59. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the Super Bowl 59. See, that was silly me. Scoring touchdowns is key to hoisting the Vince Lombardi Trophy, and you have a shot to score big by betting on them at DraftKings Sportsbook, the number one place to bet touchdowns. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use promo code BWF for Bad Weather Fans. That's code BWF for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Mike.
Yes, looking forward to the Super Bowl. We'll give our pick at the end of the episode.
Yes.
What was fascinating about, well, it was all fascinating, but Saturday night, it's 12:33 p.m. Eastern. I've been going to bed really early lately, but for whatever reason, this Saturday night, I could not fall asleep. I finally started drifting asleep, but I left my phone ringer on, and I get a text message. I look at the text, and I'm kind of half dozing asleep, and it's the Shams report about Luka being dealt. That for me was the most shocked I've ever been looking at anything reported in the NBA on Twitter. The second most annoying was when Kyrie requested to be traded, because if you remember, that came out of nowhere. It wasn't like there was speculation. Like when Durant was dealt, we knew it was boiling up.
Right.
Kyrie came out of nowhere. This one was the biggest shock I have ever seen. I immediately texted you, and when you did not get back to me, I knew you were asleep. I mean, it's 12:40 in the morning, so it's a late hours. It reminded me when Towns was dealt to the Knicks, and I was asleep, although that was like at 9:55 or 10:20.
That was like 6 o'clock. Yeah,
that was that early. But I just was curious from your end. Then when you saw the news, was it from me? Was it from somebody else? Was it scrolling on Twitter? How then, when you woke up in the morning, did you see the trade, and then your reaction once you read it?
So it was definitely from you in the morning. I and my other friend Matt texted me as well. It just was like, I think I vaguely remember. And the more I thought about it a day or two later, I was like, I think I vaguely remember rolling over and looking at my phone and reading the trade, and probably thinking it was a dream, and like couldn't process the information and just put my phone down, because my son's been waking up in the middle of the night a lot. So I might have even woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning, looked at my phone, and went back to sleep, and I still couldn't like process what was happening yet. But when I really was up in the morning, like 7 whatever in the morning, I saw the text from you and from my friend Matt, and then I looked at Twitter to confirm, and I saw all the reports and everything, and I just was like, holy crap. And it was insane. And it's everybody's broken down, the trade and what it means for both sides. Everybody understands that already. But I just think the one good angle that I think that the good that comes out of this is that maybe this makes all of the superstars in the NBA who are very comfortable in their places, very what's the word? Just complacent, and they're kind of like made men. You know what I mean? Once you get a max contract, you're like, I'm good. This is my team. I'm here. They're not going to trade me unless they talk to me, et cetera, et cetera. Um, I just feel like that might help the NBA, might help these players feel less entitled. That's the word I was thinking about, and where they don't feel like they have to give it their all because the team will and could just trade you just like that, no matter who you are.
I don't think that will happen moving forward. I think this is a rare case. I think this is the outlier there. I mean, only time will tell, but I think this is just an outlier of a GM that made a major mistake for his franchise, for his fan base. And I also think anybody that's coming out there is having the hot take of, oh, they're the second best team now in the West. I think you're just looking for a reaction. I mean, they just traded what could be an all-time NBA player that's 25 going into their prime. Historic mistake. I definitely thought when I read the tweet that it was a fake because I've been, it's so easy to get fooled. You have to double, triple check these things.
Or
you
a hack.
Or a hack. Or a hack. And I instantly thought it was my first reaction. Then we learned over time that this wasn't the case. Was what is Sean Marks doing? I was like, what are you doing that the best for Luka? You all those
give
picks,
it all up.
All of that, everything you've built. It's for this moment. If
plan changes,
plan changes in this moment. But my first thought was Sean Marks. What are you doing? Like, why are you not involved? That's it's in the trade. And then you learn over time that Dallas reached out to the Lakers, and I was like, okay, I can't get mad at Sean. He probably didn't even know what was happening or had a chance because Dallas wanted to retool and did not want to rebuild because they still have Kyrie, Anthony Davis. They have obviously a good nucleus. I'm not saying they don't. They went to the finals last year, but you can't get on Sean Marks because he never had a chance.
No, he didn't, and neither did the Knicks with Leon Rose. Everybody's like, well, you gave up 5 picks for Mikal Bridges. Why didn't you hold on to those picks for Luka? Nobody knew Luka was available, number one. And number two, Anthony Davis is not, nothing. You know what I mean? He's not Anthony Davis at 25 years old, which I didn't want the Knicks to trade for then either because they weren't at a place to get Anthony Davis and then win, But right now, for a team like the Lakers or the team like the Mavericks, whoever is in that teetering on the edge of contender, Anthony Davis, how many picks do you think he's worth? 2, 3? Mike, what do you think?
Anthony Davis at this point in his career, now he's 31, but it feels like an old 31 because he's been in the NBA since only after his freshman year in Kentucky, and he is always hurt.
He's hurt right now.
Some sort of injury. So you factor in he's been in the league 12 years. There's injury after injury. It doesn't feel, and he's a big body.
Yeah, like 2 years left of him being Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis isn't good. Not that LeBron at 40 obviously is playing
different person,
really well, and it's. But we saw he had a great game in the Garden.
He's the outlier. Yeah.
I can't imagine Anthony Davis at 35, 36 years old is going to be at this level. So you would assume that there's a decline in his play. So with all of that to factor in what is he worth draft picks wise, I would say if you were just dealing AD straight up for first round picks and it wasn't anything to do with player comps.
No players.
It's 2 to 3 first rounders.
Right.
Something like that.
So then, if you gave up 5 for Mikal, it's not apples to apples is what I'm saying. Because if you're saying that Anthony Davis is worth 2 to 3 picks, let's even say 2, and then you give up 1, so you're at 3 picks for Anthony Davis. It's, it's not that big of a difference picks wise. It's why the comparison doesn't work. You know what I mean? Where they're saying, well, you gave up 5 for Mikal and we only 1 for Anthony Davis. Like, no, there's so much more context to the conversation. I know people want to make the jokes, and that's what it is, and that's all it really is. And you're comparing it to other players and that were traded and this and that. Luka might be damaged goods. You know what I mean? He might be. I mean, he's get him on. I forgot who said it. Somebody get him on Ozempic. Big Cat on Barstool said, get him on Ozempic, and then pay him. You know what I mean? And that's all you have to do, and that's true. But at the same time, they don't want to give him that super duper max contract if they don't trust him. I don't agree with it. I would do it and take the risk. Like you have this once in a generation player, well, twice in a generation player for them, or I guess it's once in a generation with Dirk and then Luka. Like you got lucky to get that. So it's kind of like Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, and you gotta pay him and take the risk. And if you're gonna trade him, you better trade him for somebody like Anthony Edwards. You know what I mean? Somebody like on that level to change it up. You know what I mean? And especially when you deal Trae Young for him on draft day to get Luka, and you know what I mean? It's a bizarre world. And how about that trade where it turns out now the Hawks actually won that trade? you know, but either way.
Well,
there's a lot of context to these conversations. Is the point?
yeah,
of
and to
my
add
rant.
context, I do believe that the Nets got more overall in return for Mikal Bridges than the Dallas Mavericks did. But I
Right,
would agree with you that it wasn't as if it was 5 first-round picks to 1. I
right,
think the overall deal that the Nets got back is more
right.
in these two comparison. But no, it's not 5 draft picks and that was 1 draft pick. No, it's somewhere more towards the middle of the line. But I
Yeah.
do believe that the Nets got more in return for Mikal Bridges than the Mavericks got in return for sending over.
It's also
Luka
context to that
Doncic.
too, with the Knicks tax and in the same city and the this and that and the whatever, and that the Knicks couldn't keep all those picks because of the apron, and the Nets knew that and squeezed the Knicks out of more picks. So there's a lot of context to that conversation that obviously trolls on the internet don't want to hear. So it is what it is.
Yeah, you had another point you were saying. I had such a good point in my brain, and it just literally jumped out.
What did I say?
I don't know.
Let's
I don't know. I'm not listening. No, I'm just,
see.
it just jumped out
Anthony
of my head.
Davis not worth is worth how many picks?
Yeah, it was
And
right after that you said something, and I was so excited
mhm.
about answering that back, and it just actually jumped out of my
Gotta
brain.
write it down, man. Gotta write
I
it
know I
down.
should have read. Do you ever do that? Do you ever write
I have
something
the
down,
notes app open all the time, and
like
right now
in the
I
middle of
don't.
our conversations,
And
to
you'll
make
see
sure
me
that
go
you
like
say it
this with
later?
my hands and like my arms out, and then I wrote something down because then I just want to remember the point. Because I've done that what you're doing right now so many times on these
It's
shows
so
that we've done
frustrating.
200 million of these episodes that
So
like
frustrating.
yeah, it's the most annoying thing ever.
Oh man, that is so frustrating. It'll come back to me at some point later on in the
Right.
conversation. But it's absolutely wiped from my brain. Bummer
So who do you
City.
think gets traded next
From in the
in
like
general in the NBA? Because Quentin Grimes just got traded for Caleb Martin, Mavericks and the Sixers, et cetera, et cetera. Who do you think's
well, I mean,
next?
you see
Jimmy
the reports
Butler?
about the Warriors are
Oh yeah.
very hungry to get a star back,
Mhm.
and I
They
mean
called every team. They said
For the Suns to deal Durant,
they're not doing that.
I mean, what
They're not
at this
doing
point
that.
you got to just roll with it because
Not
then
dealing with Durant.
you can't. What are you trying to recruit picks back, and now you're
That's the
stuck
only
somewhere in the
thing. Then
middle?
you got to
Like, at
trade
least
Devin
roll the dice.
Booker. Then you got to trade that.
Yeah,
You got to trade everybody, and then it's just over. You know what I mean? And that's fine if that's what you want to do. But you're going to trade Kevin Durant for Jimmy Butler? That doesn't make any sense.
no,
And then
no,
the
just
Warriors are begging the Suns for Durant. The Warriors are trying to get Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler doesn't want to go there. So it's a very 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 strange situation in the NBA right now, which is exciting.
yeah. By
And
far,
that's
the most exciting part of the season has been this week. I mean, I can
yeah.
only speak overall for the
Not for me,
NBA.
not for teams with good teams.
No,
Not for fans
yeah,
with good teams. To root for.
33% of the NBA is tanking.
Yeah.
That can't be good for the league.
It's not,
All these
and
teams
that's
want to
been
be
the
bad.
problem. It's because it doesn't pay in the NBA to be in the middle of the pack because there's no
Teams are
Cinderella
learning
team that
this.
can win a championship. It's like impossible for a team that's a 7th or 8th seed. Even you got into the play-in tournament, you won a game, you got to the first round, lost. Even if you win the first round, in the second round, you're not going to the finals. You're not winning at all. The Heat got to the finals and they lost, and that was an outlier because that's a team that was just in the finals a few years before that. And the Knicks in '99 when they got to the finals, that was an outlier because it was a lockout. Other than that, the lowest seed to ever win a championship was the Houston Rockets in '95, and they were the 6th seed, and they were the defending champions who got
Yeah.
Clyde Drexler in the middle of the season, so they took some losses. So it was a lot of context there. So really, if you're below the 4 seed, you're not winning a championship in the NBA. Like it's almost impossible. So because of that, teams stay out of the middle, and they'd rather bottom out and not just be competitive. It's not like the NFL where you could be, the Rams one year and win the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? You could be the Ravens and be like the last seed and win the Super Bowl. It's like impossible in the NBA.
Well, I'll
So
disagree with you a little bit on this front because I don't think the 1 seeds are as strong as they used to be in the NBA.
mhm.
And maybe I'm just thinking back to like my childhood with
Jordan,
Jordan and then the
Lakers,
Spurs
yeah.
and the Lakers, and those 1 seeds seemed invincible.
Right.
I mean, like the Cavs at 40-9 are the 1 seed, but Like to me, like I said before, I think there's three teams in the East. It's the Cavs, the Celtics, and the Knicks. I always said I thought the Bucks were a fraud, and I thought
You
the
did.
Pacers were better, and that's proving to come true in real time as the Pacers have played really good basketball, where the Bucks have struggled. Nets have that Bucks pick through the Knicks.
But do
So
you
that's
think
been
it's
good to see.
possible?
But
Do you think it's possible for ever a 10 seed playing team to
no,
ever win a championship?
no. But I think that
That's what
I
I'm
guess
saying. It's
I guess the
impossible.
true I think the true middle has no chance. But I do think like that I think there's more than just three teams than it used to be, especially in the Western Conference.
There's no
That's where I
super
wanted to
team.
get like
Yeah, yeah.
maybe the Thunder have separated themselves now, but
Not yet. Yeah.
Grizzlies, Rockets, Nuggets, Lakers, Clippers, T Wolves, Mavs, Kings, Suns, 10. I wouldn't be shocked
Right.
if the Mavs last year put the run together and they weren't a one seed. Um, but yes, to your point, if you're in the middle, you have no chance. I mean, you're done.
They
It
should
just
cut off the seeds at
like
6 or
the
something.
Kings at 25 and 24 are in a worse position now than the Nets,
Right.
which seemed like a year ago, no, but they are. I mean, even the Clippers at 28 and 21
Right.
are in a worse position because they're not going to get there. It's just,
Especially
I
a year
mean,
with a great draft class where it can turn your whole franchise around with one guy, you know?
like the Magic at 24 and 27 have fallen apart, but you feel like they have a future and a
Because they have
foundation.
injuries. It's an
Pistons
injury year.
25
Yeah.
and 25 feel like they finally have a future and a foundation.
Right.
Bucks 26 and 22 are done. Heat
Right.
24 and 23 are done. Hawks at 23 and 27 are the true definition of being in the middle.
Right.
The Bulls finally recognizing it. The Sixers done. And then you got all the bad teams. I mean, if you're in the middle, it's over. So yeah, it's a problem for the NBA, but look at football too. I mean, it's the same fucking team every year in the AFC anyway.
Well, that's rare because it's been a lot of different Super Bowls for a long time. You know, I mean, the Patriots were always in and out of it. I get it. But like, there's always that one outlier team, I guess. But with basketball, I think it ruined the Cinderella team. Not that they had it before, but it really ruined the illusion of the Cinderella team when they got rid of the 5 games in the first round and they
I
made it
miss that.
7. They made it
That was so
because it's
much fun.
impossible now for a Cinderella team to pick a team off. I mean, yes, it happens. It happened with the We Believe Warriors. I get it, and it is possible, like with the Heat. But that's like twice in what 25 years since they did it. I mean, it's just like made it 7 in the first round. I just feel that you have to give the illusion of the Cinderella. Why does everybody love a March Madness in college basketball? Because it's possible for the random college in the middle of nowhere to make a run to the Final Four. And they might not win it all, but getting to the Final Four and winning your bracket is like a championship. You know what I mean?
More
So
than
it's
ever now, too, with the
yeah,
way college has changed and people
exactly
not
with
staying.
NIL. Yeah, and the transfer portal, exactly. It's awful. But that's what makes it great. Nobody watches college basketball during the regular season because, you know, it's all about the tournament. You know what I mean? I guess either way, it doesn't matter, but it's exciting in college basketball when you get to the conference tournaments because if you get that bid to get into the tournament, you can go on a run and make yourself famous for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? And now, even if you never do anything, become an accountant, you can still have your moment. Like, you know, I did this, you know, and in the NBA, it's just, you know, they're like, whatever, let's
Which is
lose.
why with the Knicks, I have said this and I've held to this and I've done a good job. I'm proud of myself for
Pat
not
yourself on the back a little
getting,
bit. Yeah.
for being like, the Knicks lost to the Lakers. The Knicks beat the 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 Rockets. I I know it's going to come. I mean, look at the way the standings are going.
Right.
Celtics Knicks second round. That's what it's about. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
get
That's true.
healthy then. Like for OG, like if I'm the Knicks, there is no reason to play this guy until after the All-Star break. What
No.
is the point?
Well, that's what's scary about him is that, you know, my conspiracy theory that I posted on Twitter at Nick Central and on TikTok at Bad with the Fans was that the Knicks are not rushing OG back because he's more hurt than they realize, and it's because of the trade deadline. They don't want to give away any kind of anything,
Mm-hmm.
which I understand. But Mitchell Robinson, he kept getting pushed back, kept getting pushed back, kept getting pushed back. Then all of a sudden, OG goes down, and
That
Mitchell
was
Robinson
weird
is a
timing.
doctor's appointment. You know, he posted on Instagram, and then later that day, he tweets out something cryptic like, "Hell yeah, that's some great news!" And now he's practicing, and he's not clear for full contact practice, but he's taking the next step in his rehab, and because the Knicks need him, because they know OG's gonna be out at least till March, in my opinion. You know what I mean? It'd be silly not to. They have a lot. They have 3 back-to-backs this month. With the All-Star break, a couple days off here and there, just leave him out for the month and see you in March at least.
Well, it doesn't make sense to push him let's say the Knicks are the 3 seed or the 2 seed and they play Boston in the first round or in the second round, or they're the 4 or 5 and they get the Bucks and then they play the Cavs. I mean, ultimately, you're gonna have to win these series,
Right.
and you'd rather just be healthy then. And I do believe in taking the regular season seriously. I was taught that lesson the hard way when the Nets coasted, and it just they didn't have any chemistry or camaraderie going into it. But at the same time, if somebody's hurt, there's no point. And I said this last year. To me, it's irrelevant to push yourself to be a 3 seed or a 2 seed, when it's more important to be healthy when you're there. And then, of course, things could go awry fast. I mean, it takes to win a championship. There's so many things that have to go right.
Right.
Health in the playoffs is probably the number one thing. You don't get there until at the very end of it. The Nets, case in point, were pretty relatively healthy. They didn't have Durant for part of the season, but then they get to the playoffs. They steamroll the Celtics. They crush the Bucks in the first 2 games, and then they're hit with the injury bug with Harden and Kyrie, and they couldn't overcome it, obviously, and they lost to the Bucks in 7. So they need luck. The Nets didn't have luck in that circumstance. Knicks last year, everybody went down in the second round. They didn't have any luck. The Celtics were healthy. They got lucky where other teams went down, and they took advantage of it. And so a lot of it is that too, right? You could protect OG, and then he gets to the playoffs in the first round matchup when you're playing the Bucks as a 3-6. He falls down on his ankle weird. Look at last year with the Bucks. Giannis got hurt. Dame got hurt in the first round. Pacers advanced. There's so many things that have to break right. But at least for you have a team that if it does break right, you're in this conversation. But so many things have to go right. It's tough. It's just tough.
Yeah. That's why winning the NBA championship is probably the hardest championship to win, because in all sports, because there is no Cinderella team, so like we explained, which is kind of cool in some regard, but it's also very frustrating for most of the NBA. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I just saw your tweet. You like James Dolan making an appearance at the Knicks locker room?
Yeah, James Dolan went into the Knicks locker room, gave some words of encouragement for the team, and specifically Huck Porty, who is the young center that doesn't get a lot of playing time, but I guess Dolan likes his promise, as per was it Christian Winfield, right? Tweeted that on out, the reporter. So, I'm happy. Everything's all's well in Knicks land. I know OG's a little hurt and all of that, but there's nothing to complain about. If you're complaining right now, you're just a miserable fuck. That's all I have to say. For lack of a better term, if you're complaining about the Knicks right now, you're just a straight-on miserable fuck who just wants to be unhappy, or you want to promote yourself because you want to be different and get views and get people talking and make them pop, and that's just kind of pathetic, in my opinion.
I won't even. I could bring up some Knicks stuff, but I'm not going to argue with you about it.
Okay. So don't.
No, Towns. If Towns has a bad game versus the Celtics, watch out.
Yeah, well, he also has. I mean, it's just logic is that he has a hurt thumb. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a shooting thumb. So I almost would prefer he wasn't playing an All-Star game, but it's not really a game anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean? They just go and show up, take pictures, wave to the crowd, throw up some alley-oops, sit down. So
I haven't watched an All-Star game in a decade. Don't plan on doing it again.
I always like watching the beginning, like watching the introductions. Somebody raps or sings, and then you go, and then you throw the ball goes up, and then I'm tuned out. I'm done.
We'll talk a little Nets
contest,
we'll talk a little dunk contest.
It sucks now, but I always watch it.
We're not doing. I refuse to have a conversation with you about anything dunk contest. It's irrelevant until somebody proves me wrong.
They need to get Deuce McBride in the dunk contest. He would win the dunk contest. That'd be fun.
But yeah, then I'd be interested if you got LeBron, 40-year-old LeBron in there, man. Lower the hoop to 9 feet. Let's have fun.
Really quick, how embarrassing was it that the Knicks fans were chanting, "We want Bronny at the Garden"? That was so embarrassing. I'm sorry. I'm not sugarcoating that at all. That was completely embarrassing. I tweeted it out at the time. That's pathetic. I'm sorry. I don't care if it's amateur night at the Garden where everybody just wants to be there. Knicks fans, season ticket holders made a lot of money, which is fair. And it was definitely a casual night. Sure. But come on. Come on. Even if it's a joke from some Knicks fans, come on. It's bad.
The amount of disrespect that I always hear as a Net fan about everything with my fan base in their arena.
Yeah.
it's it definitely felt a little hypocritical.
Defend it, yeah.
So I just was. It's why I kind of come back to the point where it's like there's more Knick fans than Net fans, but at no level do I ever want to hear about how great you are. It's like you're at the end of the day, you all do the same stupid stuff.
Right.
And
well, there are more Knicks fans that go to away games that do things. Knicks are kind of like the Steelers of the
yeah, they have a
the
larger
NBA,
fan base. I don't
and they're
disagree
out
with that.
at every game all around the
They have a
country.
larger fan base. Absolutely. We
Yeah,
all know this.
and there's
But
displaced New Yorkers everywhere, or whatever. So,
the illusion of there's nothing like being a Knick fan. If you're a Knick fan, it's just different
oh,
than
now
all
you're
the
going too
other
far.
fan base. Like,
No,
that's
going.
well, I get it. Right?
I just thought it was an embarrassing moment at the Garden. I think
yeah.
you're going a little. You're
Well,
taking it
it's
a little
just-
bit. I'm giving you a little bit. You're going like kicking the door in. You know what I'm saying? I'm
I
opening
can't
the
help
crack.
myself. You're gonna give me a little. What do you want from me? Right? It's like I'm a good Mets fan.
You see, this is why they're all pathetic. Yeah.
But when I put on the Knicks hat, my fandom gets to the elite level. I really
is.
know how to root
Right.
for the home team.
Right.
No, it was a bad look. That was a bad look. I
really
actually maybe because I'm jaded from the Nets. You kind of brought it to my attention more. I was like, oh, that's kind of silly, but I was kind of pleased to hear you think it was pathetic.
It was. This is not like when we used to chant for what's his name? The dude from BYU that was on Jimmer Fredette to come in, and he's on our team. We're trying like chanting, "Come in, yeah, Jimmer!" Or like
Derrick Rose recently,
right? Or when back in the day when the Knicks were getting all the expiring contracts, trying to get under the cap for LeBron in 2010, like the years leading up to that when Kobe scored those 60-something points at the Garden or whatever it was. Knicks fans started cheering for Kobe. At that point, it's like this team is dead. They're not trying. We're simulating the season anyway. Let's cheer for Kobe. Like I didn't have a problem with that. But when you're into the year that you're trying to win a championship and you're playing the Lakers on national TV and you're chanting for Bronny, like come on, man, that's embarrassing. I'm sorry.
Well, that's like the Nets this season. When the Knicks came in, of course it was going to be a lot of Knicks fans. The Nets are tanking. They're horrible.
Right.
If it's not so in recent memory, the Garden had net chance when the Nets were good, and the Knicks stunk. In particular, remember the Cam Thomas comeback game?
Right.
It happens.
That was bad.
That was bad. Like that. They did
not like that game very much.
Every time you're looking down at your phone, I'm thinking there was a deal.
Well, I just got a Ring camera and I got an alert that something went off, so I just wanted to look at it, make sure.
I know, but I'm feeling like if I'm interviewing Shams and he's looking down.
Breaking news.
I do want that to happen, but we'll talk a little Nets. We'll do our Super Bowl pick. But this ain't the little itty bitty teeny tiny bowl. This is the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 59. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 59. Scoring touchdowns is key to hoisting the Vince Lombardi Trophy, and you have a shot to score big by betting on them at DraftKings Sportsbook, the number one place to bet touchdowns. New DraftKings customers get $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code BWF. That's code BWF for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you get just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. 21 plus, age eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Oh. Nets feels like they're going to be quiet at the deadline. Feels like the Cam Johnson market. They're going to demand a couple of firsts. They're not going to get them. And I could see the Nets are going to just do something like Day'Ron Sharp dealt somewhere where a team needs a big, and the Nets get, their 800th second round draft pick in return. It feels like to me it will be slow. I think the dream for Net fans would be Cam Johnson's dealt. They get a young player in a first round draft pick back, like to a team like the Pacers. Claxton is dealt to the Lakers. They get a first, probably not going to happen. And Ben Simmons is cut. As much as Ben Simmons is a joke, I'd love to see the splits for the Nets when he actually does play. I'm not saying they're good. I don't want to go there, but he does in a season when you want to be as bad as possible. and he has helped them a little bit, I guess, because he's had moments where he looks like an NBA player. Again, I don't want to come across like he's any good. It's not, but I hope that they cut him as well. Just void as much talent as possible. I'm fully on board, Alex. Before I was like weirdly rooting for them at sometimes. I've hit the point now, like that Rocket game. I was like, what the fuck? I was actually upset.
Like,
when
what
they
are
were
we
winning
doing?
that game.
Yeah.
First, like legit watching it, getting upset when the other team, when they were beating the other team. Like this is the first time in my life I think I'm rooting for the Rockets for 3 straight games, and it involves my Nets, like 2 with the Nets and 1 with the Knicks, and I'm fucking 0-2 in the stretch.
Yeah, it shows like you can't win sports wise. Like you root for your team to win, they lose. You root for the team to lose, they win. It's just like you're just a cursed sports fan. They feel like that, and when that happens, I was trying to look up Ben Simmons splits. It doesn't give me an easy answer, but listen. He is also somebody that you can maybe deal if there was somebody like Luka available. Like you know what I mean?
Well,
Like
the cap money works.
yeah, with the money. That's what I'm saying. Like you hold on to him, get Jimmy Butler or something, but that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? Jimmy Butler wants the Suns, and that's it. He's blocking trades to the Warriors. I mean. It's so funny. It's like we think of the Warriors as this like powerhouse team and they stink. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's
they're
just
500.
yeah. So I mean that's why the Warriors are like we have Steph Curry for another 2 years and that's about 2-3 years whatever it is and they already lost Clay. Draymond Green sucks and it's just we need somebody here. You know.
I'll pose this question then: do you think Steph plays for another NBA team?
No, I don't.
I think he does.
Think so.
I think he finishes his career one last stop to win a title.
That's interesting. I don't think so. I think that he's going to be like the Kobe. I think he wants to be in one uniform. I think Draymond Green could be gone, but I think Steph Curry is the one that lasts. That he's going to get piece of ownership or something. Don't leave us, please. You know what I mean, kind of thing. Because you imagine if he leaves and he goes wins a championship with like another team or something at the end of his career, and like. It'd just be weird, And you built this whole new arena in San Francisco. You left Oakland. You know what I mean? It's just there's a lot
Things
there.
change.
He is the
Things
guy.
change fast.
They do, and
Look how
it's all
fast
up to
things
him,
change.
really. I don't think the Warriors would ever be like, "Hey, we gotta go." I think it'd be like Karl Malone at the end of his career with the Jazz, like, "Hey, I just want to win a championship,"
And they did not.
And they did not. They lost to the Pistons. But Ben Simmons' record this year with the Nets, with him playing, what do you think it is? 19,
How many games is it total?
Hold on.
Give me the total amount of games first.
I can't do math. Hold on.
Oop. You heard that alarm.
32 games.
32 games? Jeez, he's played a lot of games, like relative for
It's
him.
like, thanks, Ben. Now you're healthy, right?
I mean, it's not good, but I bet you it's like 12 and 20.
It's 13 and 19. You were close.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's
accident.
not.
I thought you were gonna get that, but
it's not tank bad.
No, it's not.
It's just regular bad.
Too good. It's too good, honestly, for your liking. Because when he wants to play, he's a really good player.
He's not I wouldn't go that far.
He's got talent, I'll say. He's got talent.
But I'm just it does feel like they have now. Of course, there's a lot of variables around that. Did Cam Johnson play? I just remembered my point from earlier in the show.
Well, that's the end of the show though, too bad. Bye, guys.
It was a Luka point to you. I just remembered it.
Go.
This whole concept, and then you had the big cat Ozempic comment, and I think that was funny, and I lost it. This whole idea that Luka, that the Mavericks made the right decision. The guy led him to the finals last year. Think about this.
Right.
When he went to the Western Conference Finals, that team had nothing on its roster. They had Jalen Brunson, but it wasn't the same Jalen Brunson. That was their second best. Brunson, yeah. They traded Porzingis for Dinwiddie. Jalen Brunson, and then Luka's there. Brunson's not the same player.
Was Deshaun Stevenson still there? No.
Then they go to the final. They go to the Western Conference. They go to the NBA Finals last year on his back, and he's putting up historic numbers. They're 8-1 to start the season, and he gets hurt. They were 8-1 to stick. Dallas was fine.
Yeah.
Then he gets hurt, and then they've come back to the pack because Kyrie's not a 1. He's hurt. Blah blah blah. But Kyrie is the 2. They were okay.
Great 2. Yeah.
They were okay. They were 8-1 this year with him, and he got hurt. They were fine. Like this whole concept of, he's fat. That is just, we broke up with him and we want to kick him out the door and not look bad at this. The relationship ended. But they made a historic mistake. And I'll look back at those facts. I'm so glad I remembered that.
That's good.
That makes me so happy I remembered that.
The only way the Mavericks can recover from this trade is if they win the championship this year
They
or
have to.
next year or
They
next
have
year.
to.
This year or next year. They have to win one.
But
Even
even
if Luka
then,
goes on to win 2 or 3 with the Lakers, it doesn't matter. It will be an even trade if they win a championship in the next 2 years.
even then, though, I mean, I would say this: like, as somebody that's never seen a title, you've never seen a title. I think
Mavericks
if I
only
were
have
to,
one in their whole history, too. You know what I mean? That's a big deal to get a ring there. So
if the Knicks were to trade Jalen Brunson for somebody else, and Jalen Brunson went on to have 3 or 4 titles, but the Knicks won the title next year, I guess you'd be happy.
of course, yeah. What the fuck do I care?
But
Yeah.
even still, it's like, let's say they win the championship. I guess for that moment you'd be happy, but still for the long term health of the organization, it could still be a bad trade.
Right. And
They win it
Mavericks
this
fans
year,
are,
and they win it next year. Then
Yeah.
AD's old, Kyrie's old, and
Yeah, because Anthony
complete
Davis
start
really
over.
has this year and next year probably at Anthony Davis level, and then he's going to literally start to fall off a cliff, like you said, just
And
based on his body.
And by the way, to get even more upset at the Nets, Sean Marks made the trade with the Rockets, where the Nets sent. By the way, the Rockets are going to be incredible in a couple of years.
Yeah.
When the Nets sent, they got their own draft picks back. They gave Phoenix their picks, which makes sense if you want to tank. Now, it does appear that those Phoenix picks are going to have some value in 3 to 5 years. It feels that way, where things are trending in Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
But also in the deal, the Nets did a pick swap with the lower half of the Dallas pick. Now, don't get me confused on how this works, but when the Nets traded for Kyrie Irving, the big prize was the 2029 Mavs first round pick, unprotected.
Right.
They don't have that anymore. It was sent to Houston in all those swaps. So my first thought when they made that trade was, in 2029, that first round pick could prove to be pretty valuable for the Nets. 4 years from now, Kyrie and AD are both old and gone.
Mm-hmm.
No.
It's why
I
don't care about the Knicks trading 5 picks for Mikal Bridges, because I've lived this life before. You get these picks, or you give up the picks, and you see it, and you live it, and you see all the different trades and the Nets and the Celtics and this and that. And picks, you never know what's going to happen, because you think 2029 Mavericks pick, you're like, they got Luka, he'll be in his prime, they're still going to be in the playoffs, they're going to be good, that pick's not going to be anything anyway, get rid of it. But now you're like, oh fuck, you know what I mean? So it's just air, man. You don't know what these picks mean. You don't know what these picks mean. You know what I mean?
Well,
the value is conflicting. It goes up and down. Yeah.
They're a weapon for a team to use, because that's not fair, because then it's just like they traded Mikal for air. I mean, no, they traded him for a lot of future.
They traded it for more question marks that values are going to change up and down as the seasons go. Because if the Knicks stay good, those picks aren't going to be worth shit. You know what I mean? So it's like they can still get you a nice player in the back of the first round. Sure.
But I mean, we've gone through this a million times. I can't minimize what all of that means, because, like I said, the Nets.
I can.
You can, but it feels like it's a coping mechanism to value Mikal back, as opposed to what actually was sent. And it's not fair to just be like, well, there's picks that later that could be good, that could not be good. They are lottery tickets, and a lot of them. And the Nets can also use them in their arsenal. Like, for example, Luka becomes available. The Nets shipped all of that shit over.
That's fair.
And Luka's a net. And you're like, was it worth it for air? Yeah. Because now they have life and they're breathing.
Right. But will those picks, I mean, obviously Luka is a once in a lifetime thing. That's not going to happen again, like a player 25 years old like that. But like, let's say a 27, 28-year-old player, which is usually when they're getting traded, when they don't want to sign the Supermax, or they demand to be traded, like a Melo or something like that. And you have all these picks, that's fine. But then you look at the Knicks and they're a powerhouse. Let's say that they're really good. And I don't know if they're going to win multiple championships, right? Let's just say they're really good. They're in the Eastern Conference Finals, second round, like they were in the 90s. Those picks aren't going to get you a guy like that if they're that good. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying.
But if they're bad, they will. There's no guarantee. There's also no guarantee that the Knicks are going to be this powerhouse team.
Well, I mean, there could be a year though. There could be a year where they get hurt, and then that pick is valuable. Well, that's fair.
You don't know.
But that's
you
fair.
don't know what's going to happen. And also, like, all right, the Nets.
These guys are all in their prime though on the Knicks. They're all in their prime for the next 3, 4 years, 5 years, and they've proven they have a front office that can get value out of their players. Like, the Knicks have no players. I heard this on Boomer and Gio today. The Knicks have no players, which is true. The top 5, 6 players on their team, 5 players on the team, were not drafted by the team. They used all of their draft picks and their players, RJ Barrett, this guy, that guy, Emmanuel Quickly, whoever else, Quentin Grimes, to get the players that they have now. They have guys like Deuce, and they have Mitchell Robinson. Look, that's about it, man. And back into the bench. Like, that's about it. That are homegrown. So the Knicks have proven that they can keep flipping, and Leon Rose has done a great job. I mean, he's on a heater. I don't know how long he could be on this kind of heater. like because he's shown also that he can make bad moves. So with the Evan Fourniers of the world and things like that. But point is that I think the Knicks will always be competitive as long as Leon Rose is here. So
Right,
that's
but like you, but to utilize your own point, they use all those draft picks to flip and then get players now that are here that they can win a title with. It's the same concept can be done.
Get
Now,
lucky
Sean
with a
Marks
quick
do
lead
it.
pick.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Right.
Does he have that kind of success? We'll find out.
You got the
but
assets.
but it's not as simple.
Yeah.
It's not as simple as all right. They have the 23rd pick, the 27th pick. Meanwhile, the Bucks pick is in the teens right now.
Yeah.
You know, what if the Nets take the what if the Nets went to somebody and said, we'll give you the Knicks 2031, which presumably would have the most value because it's the furthest away. And we'll give you the Bucks pick and we'll package it up and get the 6th pick in the draft. And I said, okay, so now the Nets have the 6th pick in the draft. They just had the 3rd pick in the draft. They go into the season with the 3rd pick and the 6th pick. I won't even give you the names, but it's a high draft, right? Nets have the 3rd pick and the 6th pick in this upcoming draft. Would you think the Nets are better suited with that combination or with Mikal Bridges?
Of course,
for a chance to be
based on their situation. Exactly.
Right.
No, that's true. It's true. Well, that's why you have been saying it's a good point. You got me because it's a good point because you're saying like the trade benefited both teams, like you were saying. The Knicks needed this piece to help win a championship, and the Nets needed these picks to reset their franchise. So
yeah, I
don't miss the picks, and I don't give a fuck because I'm like looking at the Knicks. They're 33-17, and they're contenders. And Mikal Bridges plays every game. He's Gumby. He rolls his ankle against the Rockets, like goes completely sideways. OG and Anunoby would have been out for his career if that happened. And Mikal Bridges gets up and hits his free throws, and he's fine, you know?
Which is why when the Nets dealt all of those assets to the Rockets and they got James Harden, I was like, well, I don't care about those picks in those years. I got James Harden right now. I want to go win a championship. Yeah. Right. Now, did it work? No. And then now all of a sudden the Nets are horrible and Houston's paying, reaping the benefits of it. And the Nets had to recoup in the way that they did. Does that work? We'll see. But yeah, that's how that's what a lot of teams do. That's why a lot of teams are giving a lot of people are upset with the Thunder right now because they still have assets. They have the Sixers pick. They have all these lottery pick, draft picks. They're like, trade a couple of them, get the final piece, win the fucking title. At some point, you have to use your picks to cash in, send them to a team that's in a rebuild. The other team gets the high leverage player. And that's the way that's the modern NBA of trade. I mean, it's more rare to see what we saw with Luka for AD I mean, that's more rare. It's more of lottery picks for an established player or star.
Yeah, no, it's fair. You're fair. So
I was on a heater of this podcast then.
Yeah, you won that one. But Super Bowl picks. What are you thinking?
Chiefs. I've had the Chiefs. Every year I come into this and I say, who do you think? I go the Chiefs. You're like, sometimes they got to lose. It's like it's like anybody that just didn't want to watch it. When Jordan was in the finals, he's gonna win.
Yep,
Mahomes is gonna figure it out. He'll win.
Yeah, and no credence to being Saquon Barkley's birthday. Super Bowl.
Who do you think is gonna win?
Oh, I think the Chiefs are gonna win. I like and it sucks because I'm tired of the Chiefs, so I don't want to root for them, but I can't root for Philadelphia to get another championship. Even though I don't hate the Eagles because I'm a Jets fan, like I literally have no care for the Eagles, but like I rooted for them a couple years ago, I think. Or no, actually, no, I didn't. But either way, I'm not rooting for Philadelphia to win, especially with the beef that the Knicks have with the Sixers now. And it's just like, and the Phillies and like, I just fuck that, man. Like the Chiefs can win again. What's the difference? They win another championship. They get their 3rd straight. If anything, as a Jets fan, it belittles the Patriots dynasty a little bit. If the Chiefs are the first team ever to get the three-peat, that's something the Patriots were never able to do. That's the one thing that they weren't able to do. And the Chiefs, the next thing they would have to do is just go undefeated. That's the only thing that a team dynasty has not been able to do. And now there's, there was 14 games when they did it, right? So now there's, or 15 games when they did it because they went
14-0, I think, for the Dolphins, right?
14-0, yeah.
They ran the table.
Yeah,
in the
there's 3. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So 17-0, right? Because, it is what it is. I don't care.
Explain to me why, as a kid, I hated when Jordan won. I always rooted for the West.
Because you're a Nets fan.
No, but as an adult, I'm kind of, but the Nets weren't relevant to like have a chance.
Right.
I was
for
saying
me, I wasn't rooting for the Bulls because of the Knicks.
When the Bulls got to the finals, I wasn't rooting for them to do it.
Right.
I kind of like to see greatness with the Chiefs, and I want to see Mahomes get it. I don't know. As a kid, I hate it.
You grew up.
I guess.
Some people like I still don't want to see the Chiefs just because I get tired of it. Like with the Bills, the Buffalo Bills, when they got the 4 straight Super Bowls, by the third and fourth one, you're just like, oh my God, enough of the fucking Bills. Even though they keep losing, it's just
Oh,
like
it's unbelievable.
nobody wants to see them again, you know?
It's
So,
unbelievable.
it sucks, but I didn't want to see the Bills in the Super Bowl, but it would have been more interesting. You know what I mean? And it would have been more interesting if the Commanders were in the Super Bowl. We got the Super Bowl that nobody wanted to see, unfortunately, because we just saw
Yeah.
it. So it is what it is, you know?
Yeah, no, it's a repeat. But yeah, I'll take
Mhm.
the Chiefs all day. If it's like feel safe about that, I'll do that. And I don't want to see the Eagles win.
No.
Not that
And the
not that
Eagles are only getting a point and a half in this, so it's kind of a pick 'em game in this. So it's we'll
what do
see.
you have any food plans?
I was gonna go to my cousin's party. They have a party every year, and all the family's there. But we're kind of laying low right now. We have some things coming up, and so we're not gonna go. But I'm just gonna hang tight at home, maybe ordering some wings, and just try to get the traditional football stuff. I feel like this is our first conversation on Mike Delivers, where we talked about what are you eating.
Maybe.
And,
Which by the
buffalo
way,
wings.
that podcast has been rebranded. Did I tell you
Yes.
that? Or did you
Yeah, I
see
saw.
that?
Actually, I was looking up the episode because I know it's our anniversary of when Mike first interviewed me on his podcast. Mike
Yeah.
Delivers, it was called at the time, and I went on there and it blew up, of course, and that's why we're here today. And so I was looking it up because it was the anniversary because it was in 2020 or 2019, right? End of 2019, because 2020 was
Pre-pandemic.
when end of 2019. I went on the phone with you and I did it with you, and then we did it two more at WFN's studios I came to you when you were still working at
CBS
CBS
Sports
Sports
Radio
Radio.
Studios.
Yeah, it was both. And you were
So I was
still,
pissing you
for
off.
me, it was going to WFAN because
I know. I'm just
I had
kidding.
never
I'm
been
just
there at the
kidding.
time. I'm not
It's the
going
same
to see
place.
it's the same place, but we went to WFAN and we did the recorded it there, not on air, obviously. And then we interviewed Richard Jefferson, and then we started Bad Weather Fans. So it's just crazy how life happens, and now we're kind of best friends, and it's just like the world works in mysterious ways.
Yes.
Twitter can be a good thing,
Yeah,
you
no,
know.
I've met a lot of good people on Twitter, Nick and
So
Net fans.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
That's
Anyway, what
why,
were you gonna
but
say?
again, yeah, we rebranded it to Marriage Bites, just for anybody curious.
Marriage Bites, Mike and Jess, and they
Yeah,
have a
just
Patreon page as well, right?
now we
So,
used to. When
oh,
I,
you don't do that anymore.
yeah,
What do you
having
do
it.
when you cancel a Patreon? Do you give money back to people, or you're just
No,
like,
just
screw it,
well, they just
stop
stopped getting
charging?
the subscription. I mean, I was
Yeah,
that was doing all right. I mean, I had a decent, not decent. I mean, I had somewhat members on in the Patreon page, but it's amazing what happens when you have a kid and your time is
no time.
gone.
Yeah,
Like I had time I don't have time for that. My wife was involved
your
and
job
now
changed. Also, you used to produce a morning show for CBS Sports
yeah,
Radio, and
everything
now
changed.
so like you
So
were up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and your day is
yeah,
done by 11 o'clock.
yeah,
Like you have
yeah.
the whole day to do
Hmm.
things. It's just
Hmm.
strange,
Yeah, but
but
yeah. Anyway,
world is different. You know,
that is fair. That is fair. All right,
world is
this
different,
is
but we have the same president as we had a couple years ago. You know what I mean? But world is different. Anyway,
yeah, that's true. And both our teams are titleist.
they are.
This is now I'm like, I don't know how to close the show. What show am I doing? This is Bad Weather Fans, episode 252. Don't forget, use promo code BWF on DraftKings. Good luck to everybody and have fun with all their Super Bowl festivities. Alex, good to see you as always. Let me just do one last final check on Twitter. I have a notification, so I want to make sure that nobody was traded as I build time.
Let's
Nope,
see.
no one's dealt. All right, that's it.
Hold on.
What's gonna happen. The second I hit that stop button,
Of
it's
course.
gonna happen. All right, Twitter, I hit stop.
So, let me ask you, what kind of prop bet would you do on DraftKings for the Super Bowl? I know, you guys can keep listening if you want. Jersey special, you have
This is still recording. So you know that.
first touchdown jersey number. You can do over jersey number 15 and a half or under jersey number 15 and a half.
Take the over.
Take the over. That'd be a number 80 or 30 or something, or 26.
Yes, I know.
Uh,
Thank you for explaining what over 15 and a half is. For those
Can you
listening
count over 15
under
and
the
a
age of 5. God.
Coin toss, heads or tails? What do you think?
Tails.
Tails. Okay.
Yeah, it seems to be
You got a 50%
smart.
chance of winning that, by the way.
I think it's like 51%.
It's plus 100 too. That's pretty good odds. They
Tails
used to have one. I
typically
used to
wins.
bet every year that I had the hack. will the first kickoff be a touchback? And before the new kickoff rules, it was like literally every kickoff was a touchback. I'm like, these are pretty good bet. You know what I mean?
Couldn't
And
have
I
made
think I
much
won.
though on the.
No, but it was nice to start off the night with a nice, like, some money, and like you kind of break
Yeah.
even a little bit on the other bets. You know what I mean? It's nice to get something back,
Yeah.
So Super Bowl's at night, you always bet. So
Yeah, have fun with that. Promo code BWF. It's the perfect night to do it.
please.
All right, Alex. We will talk to you later and enjoy the Super Bowl and NBA trade deadline.
Thank you. And I always, real quick, it makes me laugh that we get paid from DraftKings to do this, and then I bet on DraftKings, so it's just like they're just getting their money back. You know what I
Don't
mean?
say that. Bad weather fans. See you.
Thanks.